What's going on, everyone? IVG here from my WWPL draft analysis video. I am the coach of Houston Titans, and I will be I am going up against 11 other people in this league. And here I'll be explaining my draft picks for this league. I'm going on by a little basis of what I draft and why I drafted these Pokemon. Stop messing with the mouse. It's something I'm doing a little different. Usually I'll just go on Showdown and go through the Pokemon by what's presented on Showdown. But I'm gonna try a little something different. Like, I'm still gonna go on Showdown to pick out the moves, but I have everything set up to what my reasons were for what I picked this Pokemon. This league is on Showdown, so then the battles will be recorded on Wi-Fi through Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Sort of requirements that I had to get drafted this team. I had to draft an S tier or an A tier Pokemon, a B tier Pokemon, a C tier Pokemon, a D tier Pokemon, and an F tier Pokemon. Do not ask why there's an E tier no E tiers. It's because it was not listed on there, and I had to pick 6 other Pokemon within a limit of 100 points. Which all these Pokemon that I picked up had a limit, or had a point tier system that was required, and I ended up getting a perfect 100, or using up all my points just so I can draft my team. And also I had to draft a Z Crystal Pokemon, meaning that's the only Pokemon I am allowed to use a Z Crystal with, and it cannot be an S tier Pokemon if I do desire to have one, which I did picking up S tier, so I was not allowed to have a Z Crystal on that Pokemon. So I'll just get into the first Pokemon. That Pokemon is Rana, the Greninja, and yes, this is an S tier Pokemon. As I said before, this was my first round pick because I was first up and I wanted to go with something a little bit bigger than an A tier, so I wanted to get something really threatening, and so I decided to pick up Greninja. One thing I liked about Greninja was a fast water type that I had good offensive pressure. Usually you'd see bulkier water types picked up in draft league format, but I decided to go with a faster water type to help around. It does get access to spikes and toxic spikes, which could help me out with hazard setting for letting other Pokemon have fun. And with the Greninja that I picked up, and the reason why it's S tier is because I get access to Protean. If I were to sell for a Torn Greninja, I would get it at a lower cost, but I would not be able to have Protean on it. And Ash Greninja costs a whole lot more, but I did not want that because it seemed a whole lot harder to use Ash Greninja when I have so much versatility with the Protean Greninja. And to be honest, Greninja has really good coverage moves. Just going down the list of what it has, I'm probably going to talk about stat moves like Hydro Pump and Scald are really good water type moves. Water Shuriken for priority, and Dark Pulse and Night Slash are good dark type moves as well. Does not have knockup, which I'm sort of upset why it didn't have it, but it's still okay in my opinion. Gets grass coverage and grass knot, psychic coverage in extra sensory, ice beam, ice punch for ice as an ice coverage move. Gets shadow sneak surprisingly, gets rock slide, U-turn. Even acrobatics like aerial ace if I want to run flying stab for a potential bug type. Those are sort of moves I could just instantly run. Also has access to taunt, so I'm able to stop any setup Pokemon in my way. Has access to substitute, so I'm able to have that low protection I need. Even low kick just to help with heavier steel type, rock type Pokemon that are weak to fighting type moves could just do a whole lot. I mean, it's real fast Pokemon, and even though its attack and special attack are a stable ground, it still can put a whole lot of work because of the Protean. What Protean does is changes to the same type as the move you use, so that move will be getting stab boosted damage, so it'll be doing a whole lot more. So that's it for Greninja. My next pick I decided to pick up was Hermosa, the Mega Gardevoir. I did want a Mega for this draft because I feel like I'd made a mistake one season from the WPCL that I did not pick up a Mega Pokemon, and I feel like a Mega Pokemon helps out the team as sort of a standpoint and where I'm able to just build off of that or something like that. And I decided to pick up Mega Gardevoir again. it was an A tier pick, which I've already had an S or an A tier pick Pokemon, so this counted as one of my free picks. And with Mega Gardevoir, it is a strong fairy type that is really good offensively and possibly defensively. I mean, look at its 135 special defense. It really works really good. Its move pool is actually pretty good, might I add. I'm going to look this up just to see moves that I have available. I mean, Psyshock, Moonblast. Most of the time with Mega Gardevoir, you'd probably be running Hyper Voice since it does more damage with Pixelate, which I'll talk about in a second. Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, Energy Ball. Moves like that are real good coverage moves just for Mega Gardevoir. It's a good setup sweeper and a good wall breaker with that base 165 of special attack. Could do honestly a whole lot to a bunch of Pokemon. And I was talking about Pixelate before. What it does, it changes from normal type moves to fairy type moves and gives it a 20% boost of damage. So the Hyper Voice that it does carry a whole lot will be boosted and do a whole lot more damage than what it usually does. My next pick was Combatiente the Kommo-o, and this ended up being my B tier pick, and I wanted a good dragon type. And really, I have not using Kommo-o at all, even since it's just been released. I used it in a couple of battles, maybe on Showdown, but I have not used it so much at all. So I decided to pick it up as a member of the team. Like I said, it's a good, strong dragon and fighting type Pokemon, which is really good offensively. Not really good defensively, because it's 4 times weak to Fairy, and that weakness to Flying and Psychic, which could commonly come in Draft League format. Ice types, I do not know if it's neutral, but I feel like it's not, which I'm still scared against, even though I do have the fighting typing, but that is beside the point. Just like Mega Gardevoir, it's a good wall breaker, both physically and specially offensive, with 110 attack and 100 special attack. Has excess Stealth Rocks, which I feel like it would not be something that I would run on Kommo-o, especially since I have other Pokemon that have it, which I'll explain later. But Kommo-o does have that excess Stealth Rocks, which if I decide to run it, then it's very helpful. Has a good move pool as well, like the others. Gets access to element punches. Got superpower. At the beginning of Sun and Moon, its best fighting type move was Sky Uppercut, but it now gets a whole bunch of fighting type moves like superpower, close combat, Drain Punch, Focus Blast, Focus Punch. Poison Jab is a good coverage move. Rock Slide, Earthquake, and I believe that's it. Oh, also gets Flamethrower if I want to run specially, and I think Flash Cannon too. Yeah, it gets those moves. Really good move pool, like I said. Next up, I ended up picking Caliente the Arcanine. If you remember from my NPL draft, I did pick up Arcanine, and it did serve a real good purpose to my team. It was another B tier, so it ended up being a free pick. All around good fire type. I mean, 110 attack, 100 special attack, base 80 in both defensive, 95 speed and 90 HP. Real good, like I said. Intimidate helps out a whole bunch with physical Pokemon, and I wanted that sort of like instant counter to a physical Pokemon, because they usually run wild in a lot of Draft League formats. It's really good offensively and defensively on the physical side. Like I said, with Intimidate, it helps her out defensively, and with that 1 to 10 attack stat, it helps out a whole bunch. And it has a pretty good decent move pool. Flare Blitz, you commonly see it run it. Even if it's like special, you probably select Flamethrower. It has like Close Combat, Crunch, Extreme Speed, Bulldoze, Wall Charge. Moves like that help out a bunch. Excuse me. Sorry it's a little short on this one, because Arcanine's pretty straightforward. It's like either going to be offensive or defensive. Really have a tough time to pick between what sets you're going to run with Arcanine, and it's sort of a little hard to pick like a different set to run with Arcanine, unless if it comes to mind at that point in time. Next up, I decided to pick another B tier Pokemon. I decided to pick Arana, the Araquanid. It's a decent physical attacker. It does have base 70 attack, which is okay, but it's not like the best thing ever. But it does have really good natural special defense at 132, which could take a lot of hits if you honestly think about it, and put a lot of investment in it behind it. And when I say a decent physical attacker, I mean it could be a whole lot better. But what helps out a whole bunch is the water bottle ability, which doubles the damage from water type attacks. So its liquidation that does have, it doubles in power from that base 85 move to a 170 hard hitting attack. And if you phone on especially, I mean Surf does double damage, so you might as well go for that. Also, Araquanid gets access to sticky webs, which helps out with setting up for another Pokemon to sweep. And even some like bulkier offensive sweepers that could help up, which I do have one later coming up, which I'll explain later. Next up we have Acero the Registeel, which this was my C tier pick. I wanted a bulky steel type on my team to help balance out my Dragon Fairy Steel Core with Kommo-o and Gardevoir, so I decided to pick up Registeel, and it really does help out. Because Registeel is the only counter I feel like that basically handles Mega Gardevoir. And I decided to pick it up so that not many people could have a decent steel type to handle Mega Gardevoir. So whatever can beat it, you might as well pick it up so nobody else can have it. It has access to Stealth Rocks, which helps me out a whole lot. Like I said with Kommo-o, I feel like it wouldn't run Stealth Rock as much, so I decided to have somebody that would be like a designated Stealth Rock setter. A really good utility Pokemon, has like Toxic to well down Pokemon, it has Thunderwave as well, has Seismic Tox to base out a little bit of damage on what it has. And it has an okay offensive pressure. I mean, it's 75 base attack, which is not the best, but it's still okay. I mean, it gets Iron Head and Earthquake to help it out offensively. Back in the day, you'd see this thing run Explosion, which I feel like I wouldn't want to have that, but it's good for like a last-ditch effort sort of thing to have with Registeel. Next up, we have Mojado the Rotom-Mow, which was another C tier pick. So this goes to my freeze like Mega Gardevoir, Arcanine, and Araquanid. With Rotom-Mow, I wanted a good electric type and grass type Pokemon. I sort of, whenever I pick a electric type Pokemon, I want something that counters other electric types. So it's like Lightning Rod or Volt Absorb that doesn't negate the electric type of attack. But I decided to go with Rotom-Mow because it's a Pokemon who I have not used, but it's pretty good in Draft League format. It has really good defenses with 107 in both defense and special defense. It gives me a Volt Switcher to help me phase in and out of battle, and also as since Ultra Sun Ultra Moon's release, it has access to Defog, which helps me out with removing hazards, and is the hazard that I do need for the team. Next up, we picked up Roca the Rhyperior, C tier Pokemon that I decided to pick up. Real good walking ground type, has high physical attack stat and high physical defense stat. Gives me another Pokemon that has access to Stealth Rocks if I decide to do so, and has a pretty good move pool for what it has. I mean, it gets access to Aqua Tail from what I remember, and also get access to Surf, which is pretty interesting, might I add. It gets access to Fire Punch and Thunder Punch and Ice Punch, so all the elemental punches. Mega Horn is another move it carries. Poison Jab, Mega Outrage, Shadow Claw, Superpower, Crunch, Brick Break, and Avalanche. All those moves that it gets has that access to, and it's pretty good for what Rhyperior does. You see this thing with like a defensive wall set, or you see the thing physically offensive with many different coverage moves to have it at its disposal. Next up, we have Enojado the Cryogonal, which is my little angry Cryogonal. This ended up being my D tier pick, one of the fast ice type. So, this is what it could do. Has good natural special defense of 135, probably just a little bit better than what Araquanid has, but still okay for it. Gives me a hazard remover. This thing both gets Rapid Spin and Defog. So if he has no Ghost type, I'll feel safe running Rapid Spin. And if he has Ghost type, I do have that Defog as a backup thing. And what I love about Cryogonal, it has access to Freeze Dry, which helps me allow with the bulky water type Pokemon that people might have on their team. So it gives them a stab move that's boosted to do super effective damage to water type Pokemon. And also the thing gets like toxic to well down Pokemon. Um, Also has recover to help it out in HP. And I'm pretty sure that's it. Also this thing got a boost, which got a boost 20. It used to be like 30 attack and 30 defense. Now it's like 50 attack and 50 defense as you see on the screen. So this is the updated stats from Ultra Sun Ultra Moon, I believe, that it got. Next up, my 10th pick, we have Oso the Ursaring. My F tier pick, I wanted a strong normal type. I didn't want something fast, or at least yet, because I just wanted something that's a good wall breaker, but not something that's like really fast. And of course, it's the F tier pick, so I settled for this, since a lot of the F tier Pokemon are not really good, I would say. So I just settled for this. One thing I like about Earthwing is its guts and quick feed ability. It helps us out with status. So if I am burned or poisoned with guts or paralyzed at this point, then I do 1.5 damage or 50% more damage than if I weren't status. And it gets access to Facade, which adds more and more damage to it. So there are not many things that want to stay in front of an Ursaring when it has a status and the move Facade. And with Quick Feed, if I am poisoned, then I am 50% faster than what I normally am. This thing reaches 229 speed with max speed and Jolly Nature, so adding 1. Or multiplying that by 1.5 is like a good 342 or 344, somewhere around that area of speed, which does outspeed, I believe, up to 105 speed tier Pokemon, probably a little bit higher, but not too much. Has pretty good move pool. I think it's like close combat, crunch. Has access to the ice punch, elemental punches. I said ice punches when there's only one ice punch. Let me see what other moves it gets. It gets Brick Break in close combat. Gets Gunk Shot for fairy types. Gets Seed Bomb. Gets Rock Slide. Gets Shadow Claw, Stone Edge. All those good moves like that just help out with Ursaring. And like I said, with the wall breakers, I wanted sort of a late game sweeper with the Ursaring. Yes, it's pretty slow, but if I decide on a Quick Feet or have Sticky Web set up, then Ursaring just completely destroys whatever's in front of it. And then for my final pick, I decided to pick up Pajaro, the Pidgeot, also making his return with Caliente the Arcanine, an F tier pick. I wanted a decent flying type, but there were none with the points that I had left except for Pidgeot, so I decided to handle with Pidgeot again for another league that I wanted. Has a good speed tier in 101 because it outspeeds the base 100 Pokemon, like the Pixie Pokemon, by one stat, which adds up to like 3 points in speed. So I'm able to like run less speed, but still be able to outspeed, so I can put like a tiny bit bulk in what Pidgeot has. This gives me another defogger potentially, in addition with Rotom and Cryogonal, and this also gives me a U-turner, so I'm able to have like a sort of Volt Turn core with Rotom-Mow. And also, I forgot to explain earlier, Greninja does also get access to U-turn, so that also helps me out with phasing in and out of battle to help sort of momentum-wise. And as I said before, I needed a Z Crystal Pokemon to hold Z Crystal, and I decided to pick up Kommo-o, Combatiente, the Kommo-o, as my Z Pokemon. So, reasons why I did that was because I had a diverse move pool with Kommo-o. Most of my team weren't compatible with Z Crystals, like Greninja was not able to have it, Gardevoir had to be Mega. Rhyperior doesn't really work with Z Crystal in my opinion, neither does Ursaring, neither does Pidgeot. And I've already tried with Arcanine with Z Crystal, so I decided not to do it again. Araquanid, I also tried again, or I also had used the Z Crystal on it before. So I wanted something that I have not tried before. and it had like little differential in what Pokemon I could use a Z Crystal at different times. So I decided to go with Kommo-o. And I wanted like a higher tier pick. I did want like an A tier pick to have a Z Crystal, but the only Pokemon I had that were that high were Mega Gardevoir and Greninja. So those two were out of line because Greninja couldn't hold it because it was S tier, and Mega Gardevoir had to have the Mega Stun. So Kommo-o was the next best thing, and I decided to pick it up that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry it took so long to come out, but it is what it is. I believe this will be going on Monday, and so will every team builder, I believe. So, and the post commentaries, if I decide to do post commentaries during that time, I might change it up. I don't have an idea what I'm going to do for battles, but if I do decide to do that, I'll do them Tuesdays like I do for my CPA draft. Or my CPA draft league, which we're hitting a midpoint in this league, so we'll just see how it goes. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see y'all next